This video is sponsored by Into the AM. Hey guys, Jay here, welcome to Models Memories Weekly, episode 191. Models Memories is a show about nothing and is filmed in front of a live studio audience. This is a show where I talk about painting, modeling, and wearing experiences from the week. Now you might be thinking to yourself, Jay, you put out 3 YouTube videos a week. How could I possibly have more to say? Well, I do, and here goes. This week, Games Workshop is putting for pre-order this weekend the new Christmas Battleforce boxes. Also, you might be wondering where I got this amazing t-shirt. Astro Pump! It is from today's sponsor, Into the AM. Into the AM is the best place to find amazing graphic designs and high-quality clothing that'll take your style into the stratosphere. Take a look through their wide selection of clothing from smart hoodies, tank tops and pants to super comfortable flannels and jackets. Everything you need to start styling yourself today is available right from their store. Choose from a wide variety of some of the coolest graphic t-shirts out there with ultra vibrant and colorful printing on high quality and very comfortable shirts. I wear my Into the AM shirts all the time, especially on game days, and everyone loves the cool designs. I especially love all the astronaut shirts. I have most of the astronaut shirts. Starting from November 13th, Into the AM will be having their biggest sale of the year with price cuts of 30 to 60% off store-wide. This is the perfect time to find the right fit for yourself or for a friend for the holidays. And if you thought those prices still weren't good enough, don't worry, you can follow the link in the description to get an additional 10% off your purchase. So take advantage while the time is right to get some of the coolest graphic tees today. The Warhammer holiday boxes are always a fun time, a time of year where you can get a ton of plastic all at once. I've got a few over the years. Actually, last year we went a little nuts. I got the Beast Snagga box. My friend Sean, he got the Double Rogel Dorn box, and Nick got the big dwarf, the big, like the strong dwarf box, whichever one that one was. But it's always a little bit of fun to look at them and see like which ones are the best deals, which ones are the worst deals. Are they a deal at all? Are they any good at all? Is this Games Workshop giving us really, really good boxes that can upgrade our armies, or is it them just shoving everything that didn't sell over the course of the year into a box and just doing a last end of the year push? Well, now that we have the prices, we can calculate it. There are 5 battle forces this year, one for Tau, Necrons, Adeptus Sororitas, Imperial Knights, and Dark Angels. And I have gone through the numbers of which one is the best deal. Actually, the one that was the best deal didn't surprise me, but it did surprise me which one was the worst. And that is the Tau Empire Battle Force Retaliation Cadre. This box comes with a Tau Empire commander in the suit. It comes with an XV-88 broadside battle suit, an XV-95 ghost keel battle suit, and a XV-104, I love all these numbers, Riptide battle suit. It comes with all the big stompy robots that the Tau can have, all shoved together into one box. And if you were to buy all of these things separately, it would come out to $335, and Games Workshop is selling it to us for $240. So that is a savings of 95 bones. Which I mean, that's, you know, that's real. That's a good savings. I guess you could, in theory, say that you're getting like one of the things for free. You're still paying for it. I think it's a really neat box. I wonder, in terms of Tau players, if you're just getting started with the Tau, this might be a good way to build up a ton of points quickly, because I bet the big stompy robots are really expensive points-wise. The Ghost Kill Battlesuit is one of the coolest miniatures Games Workshop makes. It looks really, really sick. For existing Tau players, like if you already have a broadside or a Ghost Keel, I don't know if you really need a second one. And that's usually the thing with these Christmas boxes, is so many models shoved together that even though on paper it's a good deal, is it exactly what you want for your army? Because if it isn't, I don't know if it's that good a deal, but I think the Tau Retaliation Cadre is a very interesting box. But speaking of boxes that might not be as interesting, the Necron Battle Force Hypercrypt Legion. I have not played Hypercrypt Legion, it is actually one of the detachments, but this one comes with Satan Shard of the Void Dragon, two boxes of Triarch Praetorians. On the web store, they show off Triarch Praetorians and Lichguard, but they are built out of the same box, so you can have, you know, 2 of one, 2 of the other, or 1 of each. I really like the Triarch Praetorians. They're essentially jump pack Necrons, which are really, really cool. They're also able to just fall out of combat and then charge immediately afterwards. It's a really, really fun ability. So I really like them. I haven't seen a lot of people taking them in game because they don't hit quite as hard as a lot of other Necron things. Necrons actually have access to a weirdly, like a ton of really good, tough melee, quick moving units. I mean, Wraiths, Ophidian Destroyers, like the flayed ones, they actually have a lot of options when it comes to close combat. So it's a little weird, but I really, really like these guys. You also get 10 warriors. Thank goodness Games Workshop put more warriors in this box. If there's anything Necron players need, it's more warriors. I only have 100 in my army, so I could always use a few more. And you get the Overlord with Translocation Shroud, which is a really, really cool model that came out not that long ago. It's got some really interesting teleportation rules. It synergizes really nicely with the reanimation protocols and the removing a Necron unit off the board and putting them back on the board, essentially uppy downy, but with weird Necron flavor. It's some really interesting stuff, but I have no interest in the Void Dragon. It's really expensive. I think it's like 400 and some points, so it's at least 25% of your army. I like robots. I like Necron warriors. I like immortals. I like Lich Guard. I like normal Necrons. I don't really go for the big monster units for the Necrons, so that's kind of making me shy away from this box, and just more warriors. I think still you can get warriors for a pretty good price on eBay just because nobody wanted them. When Indominus came out for Warhammer 40k 9th edition, the market was truly flooded with Necron warriors. So getting them in this box, it's okay. It's fine. If they had put anything else in this box, that would make it a little bit more interesting, but this box retails at $339.50 if you bought all of these things separately, and Games Workshop is selling it for $240, so that is a savings of $99.50, which couldn't even buy the Void Dragon because it's a very, very expensive kit. Another one of the reasons why I'm not super jazzed to get it. This box is okay. I think if you're somebody who likes Void Dragon is super cool and amazing and a gigantic miniature. It looks fun to paint. If you have a Necron army and you want Void Dragon and some other interesting stuff, I think it could be a good get. But for me, I have a gigantic Necron army, so Next up, we got the Adeptus Sororitas Battleforce Penitent Crusade Host. This comes with a Penitent Engine box, which is 2 Penitent Engines, a squad of Argo Flagellants, a squad of Sisters Repentia, 2 Ministorum Rhinos, which is the Adeptus Sororitas Rhino, which is a slightly different rhino than the Space Marine Rhinos. I mean, it's the exact same rhino, but it's got like fleur-de-lises on it. And the Ministorum Priest, which is a new unit that we see in the new Sisters of Battle Codex. Yes, it was in the Sisters of Battle Codex, and I think it's also in Agents of the Imperium. But yeah, it's a neat little unit. It's from Blackstone Fortress, but it's been re-released for essentially for just the Imperium faction armies. It's a neat little guy. I think this box is actually really good because if you have a Sisters army, all of these units are kind of like good to haves. Like you might swap them in and out of your rotation of your army list. Rhinos are nice, like Repentias and Argos are nice. The Priest is an interesting model to shove into squads and see what it does for you. Penitent Engines are great. Like I think it doesn't have any like big, awesome flagship units for the Sisters, which is actually probably good because people probably have already bought the really cool stuff for their Sisters armies. And so it's kind of nice to get things that don't feel like sexy, cool purchases like Rhinos. It's kind of nice to be able to get a deal on things like that. So I actually do really like this box. The only thing I don't like about it is I just personally don't like that Arcos and Repentia are the same exact unit. They're both like naked dudes running around with close combat weapons that are really good close combat weapons. It's just awkward that this like almost the exact same unit twice in the same codex, and they kind of perform the same role. They're both really good anti-infantry. I guess Repentia can punch a little bit harder than Arcos, but Arcos get more punches. I don't know, but I think that this box is actually pretty darn solid for a beginner or for somebody who already has a Sisters of Battle army. Adding up the total cost of the models that come in this kit, it is $347.50, which means it is a savings of $107.05 or 50 cents, which that's you know, that's not bad. That's a Rhino and maybe the Priest. It's just a good box. I think it gets a gold star and an A+. But speaking of boxes that may or may not get an A+, the Imperial Knights Battleforce Valor Strike Lance. That is a weird word to say. This box comes with the Knight Paladin or Errant, and I'm pretty sure you only get those 2 knights. If you buy a knight right now, you get like you get all of the sprues. You get everything you need for Canis Rex. You can have any of the different arm options or the carapace options. But when knights came out, and for a very long time, there was only the Paladin and the Errant. So you could only have chainsaw and other weapon. And I think, was there even carapace weapons that might have only came out later? So you only get the sprues to build the most basic knight. You don't get the sprues that you need to build any knight you want, which is kind of a problem. I mean, Paladin is good. He's the cheapest big stompy robot. He actually is pretty efficient because he's a little cheaper than the other stompy robots, but that's just something to keep in mind. If you really, really wanted like a Canis Rex knight, you can't build it with the contents of this box. I assume that has to do with sizing because it does tack on like 2 more sprues to get any of the options. So Games Workshop's probably like, at some point it has to fit all together in one box. So it's just something to think about with that. And then you get 2 boxes of Knight Armigers. So you get 4 of the little dudes. In my personal opinion, the little dudes actually make knights a little bit less appealing to me because I like the idea of knights. You just have a couple of models, 3, 4, 5 big stompy knights, and you just walk around the board and it's a completely different play experience to normal 40K. But when you delete one of your big knights and you bring like 3 Armigers, all of a sudden those Armigers are kind of doing the things that a squad of Tactical Marines and a Rhino would do, or some, Tau Pathfinders. It's like they're trying to force knights to be a more standard, typical 40K play style, which makes sense for gameplay and balancing purposes, but I just want to go nuts and stomp around with some robots. So in my opinion, I don't like Armigers. I think they look really cool, and I may or may not be adding some to my Death Guard army, but it's just, it's what comes in this box. And this box all added up is $370 retail, so it's a savings of $130, which is the best we've seen so far of these Battleforce boxes. This is another, in my opinion, problem with Knights is you end up just buying the same kit over and over and over again to make your army, which can lead to things getting a little bit boring. I know building my first squad of Intercessor Space Marines is a lot more fun and exciting than building my 10th box of Assault Intercessors, but Knights are cool. I sort of maybe am working on a Knights army. I've played against Knights a bunch of times and have gotten utterly stomped, but this box is fine, as long as you don't want a Canis Rex. And last but certainly not least, we've got the Dark Angels Battleforce Inner Circle Task Force. This box comes with the Lion himself, Lionel Johnson, 1 box of Inner Circle Companions and another box of Inner Circle Companions. You get Deathwing Knights and then another box of Deathwing Knights, and you get Chaplain in Terminator armor. I think this box is fantastic, but not for anybody who already collects Dark Angels, because if you play Dark Angels, I bet you got all of these things already. Is there anybody out there who has a Dark Angels army who didn't get the Lion? Like, it's the Lion, it's the guy. I feel like he would be like a must buy, maybe one of the reasons why you collect Dark Angels. So I think if you're just getting into Dark Angels, this would be a fantastic way to immediately have all the Terminators and the cool Inner Circle Companions. Chaplain and Terminator armor is fantastic. Getting to reroll all wounds is really, really good. Like, I like that model a lot. Although I tend to bring the Ancient, the Captain and Terminator armor, he's okay, but Chaplain and Terminator armor is where it's at. And he comes in this box. I think it's a really, really good box for anybody who wants to get into Dark Angels. I know I have seen near me at my friendly local game stores that the Dark Angels box that came out with the Codex are still on the shelves here and there. So it seems like that's also an option if you wanted to start a Dark Angels army, that you could get that box, but I think this box is fine. It is interesting that in the year that the Dark Angels came out, they get a Dark Angels Christmas box. So this also leads me to maybe hypothesize that Games Workshop is trying to sell off some stock, because I'm sure they made a lot of this stuff for the Codex release. And maybe they're like, let's try to get rid of some of a lot of this stuff. This box retails at $374 at Games Workshop kits, making it a savings of $134, which is a little bit better than the Knights box. All in all, I think all of these boxes are pretty darn good. It's a little sad that we're not getting a lot of Xenos action with the Tau, but did the Tau really count as Xenos? I feel like, they're aliens. They're blue and they got hooves, but they don't feel as alien as like the Tyranids or the Orcs. I could have even looked at an Eldar box. That would have been something to look at. And you know what else is something to look at? That's right, EonsOfBattle.com. EonsOfBattle.com is the place to find our merch, like the new Nick and Jay dice. It is the best way to support us doing what we do with a membership. Each month, members will get 1 credit that they can use on our new terrain release or any previous terrain release we have ever done. For the month of November, EonsOfBattle.com is getting chaotic with the Desecrated Engine, a war machine that could loosely be called a tank, but such an ordinary word does not properly describe the power of this demonic machine. With grasping chainsaw-tipped claws and a tummy blaster that won't quit, this unstoppable engine of chaotic might can roar its way through a battlefield. This insect-like monstrosity comes fully loaded with armor and weapon options so that it is ready to rumble with any army that dares to face it. It's always fun to look at the Warhammer Christmas battle forces. Of the battle forces, in my opinion, the Sisters of Battle one is the most enticing. It doesn't super get me excited to start a Sisters of Battle army, but if I had a Sisters of Battle army, I probably would be very tempted to get this box because it does feel a little lame to like buy a Rhino. But if I'm getting a Rhino and it comes with Argos and Penitent engines, it softens the blow a little bit. Out of the other boxes though, none of them super light a fire under me to get them. And what's important to think about with the deal factor of these boxes, most of them are around $100 in savings, but if you manage to grab one of these from your friendly local game store, then that can be 15% off, so the savings get even better. Now, historically, with the Games Workshop Christmas boxes, they usually go pretty quick from the Games Workshop web store, and stock availability for friendly local game stores is usually very, very limited. So maybe reach out to your favorite friendly local game store right now and see, feel them out. How many Sisters of Battle Battleforce boxes are they thinking they're gonna get from Games Workshop so that you can make sure that you get one. And also another thing to keep in mind is if you don't want every single thing that comes in that box, then it doesn't really matter if you're saving a bunch of money. If you don't build Void Dragon, there's no point to getting the Necron box. So maybe, whatever you're looking for Santa to bring you this holiday season, make sure you get exactly what you want. And if that's not a Battle Force, if that's just, one Ministorum priest with flamethrower, maybe just get that guy. Make sure you get exactly what you want. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think of the Christmas boxes? Do you think $240 is an absurd price? Because it kind of is. That's a lot of money. Do any of these boxes have you excited? Do you think that you're just not gonna bother this year? And do you just not want to deal with probably the Games Workshop web store is gonna crash? Because it seems to crash every single year as everyone tries to get these boxes all at the same time. Thanks for watching. And don't forget to click the link in the description and check out Into the AM for an additional 10% off your purchase today.